Hello, one. So we have a model interest problem that is compounded yearly. So we have a like formula right here, which is like usually we ask to kind of remember, but I will go ahead and try explaining why this formula makes sense and how we can actually make sense, like kind of easy to remember. So for that reason, let's assume we just have a saving account, and then let's say we do get like have 500 bucks, okay? And if we want to kind of put into saving account, which does give us like a 3% a interest. And our goal is just to save the total amount of money that we would get after some number of years. Like to do so, I'm going to make a table. So let's say this is the like year. And I'll say year one, year two, year three. We can just continue if you want more, but I think it will give us the idea. So let's try at least a few more years. So again, we start with $500. We just deposit 500 bucks into the bank, and then they give us like 3% interest every year. That's why we call that yearly. And then after the first year, like the amount we are gonna get, like with the interest. So I will say this is the total amount. So we start with 500, right? So we do already have that amount. Plus, we are going to get a 3% interest, which is 0.03 times 500. But you may just go ahead and multiply these two numbers and add 500, which is okay. But instead, I'm going to see it like 500 and 500. I'm going to pull 500 as a common factor. So if I pull that, so this number is 500 times 1, so I can pull like 500, and then 1 can be written in parentheses. And then this is 500 times the decimal number right here, so that should be 0.03. So the meaning of this, after the first year, we are going to get 500 times 1 plus 0.03 dollars. And if you want to plug this into calculator, so you will get the actual number, but we don't like concern with that yet, okay? So this is the amount we are going to get after the first year. But now, if we want to find the amount of money that we will be getting after 2 years, if we want to just get all money from the bank, so you will see this is the amount of that money we had after the first year. So you are gonna get 3% of this number. But just remember, like when we say the 3% more, we just had the original amount plus we added 3%. And then adding these two numbers was the same as writing 500 as a factor. So 500 times 1 plus 0.03, right? But this one represents 100%, which is just the original amount. And this 0.03 represent the rate, which is the 3%. So if you add these two, like 100% and 3% in terms of percent, the whole thing is just 103%, because we are going to get 3% interest. So including 100% original principal, we get 103% of the original amount. So the principal. And if I just do the same thing with one more time, then I will get this. I will get this number times 103%. 103% is just exactly the same as this one. So for the second year, like after the second year, the total amount we should be expecting to get in as a whole plus principal and the interest is this. So 500 times 1 plus 0.03. This is the amount that we had after the first year, but we have to multiply this number by 103%. So make sure you understand what I mean by 103%. 100% is just the amount that we have, plus we need 3%. We just don't need 3% of the 500. We need 3% of this number, which is, if you do so, 515, but we don't care that yet. So we just need to find 103% of this number, but 103% is the same as 100 plus 3%, and then this was exactly this parentheses. So meaning that I need to multiply this total by 1 plus 0.03. So this means 103% of this amount. This amount was the amount that we have as a total for the previous year. But we have two parentheses that is the same, so we can just write it as 500 times 1 plus 0.03 to the second power. And if you were to do in this one more step, this is the total amount of money that we would have if we want to just take that whole money from the bank after 2 years. But if we want to continue this one more year, we need to get another 3% interest of this amount and add it to this amount, which means we need to know what will be 103% of this number. So that will be 500 times 1 plus 0.03 squared. And I do have this amount for the previous total. We do multiply this by 103%. 103% is just 1 plus 0.03. And if you do multiply this, you will get 500 times 1 plus 0.03 to the third power, because we have first power and second power. If you combine, you get third power. But at this point, I believe you see nice relation with those numbers. And if you want to continue this forever, you may, which we will do at some point. But if I just do this for the n year, after the first year, we had 500 times 1 plus 0.03. So 500 is the principal, and then 3% can be written as 0.03. And then after the second year, 500, which is principal, didn't change. 1 didn't change. 0.03 didn't change. Only thing changed was the power. So the power just was 1, now 2, now 3. If you just continue this with the nth year, so you are going to get the final answer as 500 times 1 plus 0.03 to the n power. And then this is the way that we explore this given formula. So if you look at the formula, we have the A is the total amount after some number of years, like t years. And the P is the principal, which is 500 in our case, like that would be whatever we start with. 1 plus R. R is the rate, but that is the annual interest rate expressed as decimal, so which is 0.03, and then T is the number of years, so which is n in our case. So I hope this background is helpful. So now we are going to use this kind of formula to get some interesting question. So here's a problem. We have $400 in the saving account that is going to pay us 3.5% annual interest, compounded yearly, which means we'll get the interest after the year is over. He wants to use the money to buy a used bike in 3 years. Okay, the current price of the bike is $850. It will depreciate 20% per year. And the question is, will he have enough money to buy that used bike in 3 years? So first things first, we have to understand the question. We have like a $400 in the saving account, and then we will get 3.4% every year as interest. And after 3 years, we will have more than 400. And now the question is, that amount of money after 3 years will be enough to cover that bike. And then bike is $850 right now, but it will depreciate 20% per year, and that will decrease. So we just want to know if this is going to be good enough. So go ahead and try and see if you can find the answer before you see actually my solution. But let's go ahead and try together as well. So just remember the formula type thingy that we were given, which I tried to explain why that was the case, was A equals the principal times 1 plus R to the n power, right? In our case, we start with 400, so he's gonna get, like, I'll say A is 400 times 1 plus R. R is the percentage rate, which is 3.5%, but we don't want to write 3.5 because we do need to write in decimal by considering this percentage. So 3.5% means 0.035 in decimal. And now we want to see the total amount that we will have after 3 years. So if you plug this into calculator, so you will get roughly like 443.49. Okay, so this is the total amount he's gonna have in 3 years, which is like $43 in 3 years. Not good enough, but it's a saving income. So let's see what will the price for the bike in 3 years. So for bike, I'm gonna say the value, because you know that will depreciate, is we start with 850, and now like we are gonna still use a similar idea, but now we are not gonna get additional amount. We are gonna decrease. Like we are gonna, like in this like formula, we were adding 1 to the rate. 1 was the 100%, rate was the 3.5%, and then we were getting extra money, so which is why we were adding. But now we are gonna decrease 20%, meaning that we are gonna get 100% minus 20%, which is why we are gonna do 1 minus 20%. So 20% is just 0.2. You may write this way, or you can just say 1 minus 0.2 is 0.8. So you can just take 0.8. I'm gonna write as 0.12 because that is kind of the same format. And then we like to see the value of the bike in 3 years. And then this is gonna give us the value. And if you just plug into this calculator, so you should get like around 435.20. So this is the value of the bike in 3 years, and then this is the amount of money that he is gonna have in his bank account. As you see, this is a bit bigger than this number, so which is why he is gonna have enough money to cover that bike. So the answer is yes. So I hope this question was reasonable and overall everything is clear. So I'll see you in the next week.